Woo, controversial thing. Let's go. How OnlyFans ruin an entire generation. I mean, I think that's a little harsh. Look, the thing with doing anything porn adjacent is that culturally it will always be shameful. It will always be something looked down, and you can say this about any fetish, like being a furry. Like I know a lot of people from the furry community, quote unquote, and there's this one prominent furry called named Uncle Kage, and his persona was a roach, and his whole thing was, oh, well, people are never going to understand. They're not going to get it. So in other words, shut the fuck up. Do your degenerate things in your own bedroom, but then go back to being a normal fucking human being. And well, I seen that. I was like, yeah, that's makes sense. Some things, you cannot. You can morally condemn. Well, morally condemn is the wrong word. Like, you can grandstand on someone to have them shut the fuck up, and say the right thing, say the correct thing, just so, and they'll be like, sure, whatever, just to shut you the hell up. But, people will always have their opinion about things, and my opinion about the whole OnlyFans thing is, I mean, whatever. I mean, there's a market for it, but it should still just be shameful regardless. It's not something that should be marketed or told to kids, or well, and even really talked about. Like, it's something that should just exist. People should watch it. Women should, or men should do it and shut the fuck up. And most things of this caliber, if you let the cat out of the bag, there's not going in. So you should just do it and own it. But do it in a way to where you understand that you're never going to get anybody to get what you're doing. And that's okay. And people don't always have to understand or really get what you're doing. So, just, yeah. Like, if you're into porn, just do it, shut the fuck up. But go back to society and, don't talk about it. Make your fucking bag and shut the hell up. That's my opinion about it. But people will disagree. I get it. People do this thing where they want to act the way they want the world to be and not the way the world is. But at the end of the day, you're never going to change grown ass adults' mind on things. So that's my whole opinion, it going into this. But let's give this a watch. I never really watched Cameron. Well, I might have watched one of his videos. So let's give it a watch.
OnlyFans has completely ruined an entire generation. Dog, when I tell you, nuclear bombs couldn't even do nearly as much damage as what OnlyFans did to our society. Bro, I knew OnlyFans was getting...
I don't know, look at Japan. I mean, nuclear bombs. If we didn't drop that shit, we wouldn't have anime. And anime is fucking good.
Bad. When I seen people not even giving life a shot at the age of 18 and going straight to OnlyFans once the clock hit 12. If you thought that Reddit, TikTok, 4chan, and Twitter did damage, just wait till you hear all the damage that OnlyFans has done in this video. Now, for the first damage that I think OnlyFans has done to society is that it's normalized a lot of weird behavior. We live in a time where people get their back blown out in front of a camera for thousands of people to see, but it's somehow okay because they make a lot of money. That is not normal, and that is not something that we should normalize.
Well, I mean, we had things like Playboy, magazines, and I think there's always been weird people, but the internet kind of gave this outlet to monetize weird, degenerate bullshit behavior. And, if you have this certain ideology in which you defend, you're forced to defend this behavior. I mean, that's also another aspect of it. But I mean, fucking weird people have always existed. It's just people are more apt to keep their weird shit under wraps the way it should be, or they do their weird shit under an alias like most furries.
Celebrate. Look, I understand that these OnlyFans girls be having Lambos, numerous penthouses, a few rollies, and more money than I could ever imagine, but at the same time, they also have zero dignity if they can proudly brag about how their cheeks are getting clapped online for $4.99 a month. Why are we flexing our cheeks getting obliterated online? I just don't think that is just weird to me. I don't think.
I mean, you can blame the Bible bashing evangelical Christians of the Bush era for this. Like, I genuinely believe they've created individuals like this, because the fact of the matter is, it really doesn't matter if you're a child or an adult. If you're told something's bad, and if you're treated like you're weird for doing something, or if you're morally condemned by complete fucking strangers for doing something, there's this thing called spite. And spite is not rational. Spite, is not logical. Right, but it's something people do, and sometimes there's a cultural backlash just based out of spite. So if you live this, sheltered lifestyle, even like at home, if you live like a sheltered lifestyle, there's a good chance that when your kid comes out, they'll go into whatever weird, degenerate bullshit as possible, and what you need to do is, or at least, again, I'm not an expert in like things like parenting or this, but approaching people as if they're a thinking individual is a hell of a lot better with rooting out bad behavior than just trying to impose upon people. Because if you impose, yeah, you'll get them to shut the hell up, but the minute they either get the fuck away from you, like in the case of kids, they get out your house, I mean, they're gonna just start doing things, and some things might, be life-changing or life-altering. So it's better to, have the conversation and the tree, even if they're like 16, 17, 18, because, yeah, they don't really understand the world. But no one wants to be looked down upon for any fucking reason, regardless of the reason. So, and especially if it's by complete fucking strangers, but if it's by your parents, it's like, okay, you can understand why they're doing it. But at one point, you'll just start to resent them and be like, yeah, I can do whatever the fuck I want now. And understanding that people are allowed to fail, like failure is 100% fine. If, it happens, people be like, yeah, it's just something that existed, and you own the fuck up to it. So, yeah, I do blame that era of people, and just for things like this not only happening, not only being championed, but people will defend this.
About OnlyFans is that it completely normalized adult films, aka porn. Like, I swear, back then, being an adult film star used to be one of the most frowned upon jobs ever. But OnlyFans has made it completely acceptable. Like, if somebody told you that they did OnlyFans, you genuinely wouldn't be surprised nowadays. But back then, that would have been one of the most shocking things to ever hear.
Yeah, because again, you shut the fuck up about it. I mean, there's this unspoken rule that if you do anything, as far as sex, it's just, you do it, you shut the hell up, no one wants to hear about it, no one cares. You might get, some of the biggest misogynists, which are other women, by the way, coming at you. So, if you were to tell people, they'll be like, what the hell? Like, what the fuck? Like, dude, I don't want to fucking hear this bullshit. The fuck? And yeah, you'll get those couple of moralistic assholes. I mean, they're about a dime a dozen. Then you get people that are just like, okay, that's cool. Just shut the hell up about it. And it's, people like to look at others through their own eyes. Like, if your kid was to go and to get into, say, the porn industry, some parents would legitimately feel like they failed as a parent. I mean, it's just something that will always exist, something that people always think. And, I mean, okay, you make a lot of money, sure, but you understand that it's shameful. They understand it's shameful. And, I mean, you can flex all you want, but, like I said, when the cat's out the bag, you can't put it back in.
Weird behavior that OnlyFans has kind of normalized is spawn camping young women until they turn 18. For example, y'all remember when Danielle Bergoli started OnlyFans 1 week after she turned 18 and she made $1 million within just 6 hours of it releasing? That means that there were some grown adults out there that found Danielle Bergoli attractive as a young girl, but they wouldn't necessarily say that. So they chose their next best option, which was to wait for this young girl to turn 18. Now they can see her naked legally. Like, the concept of that being legal is just absolutely strange to me. And whoever bought that OnlyFans once she turned 18 needs to be locked up ASAP no Rocky. Like, I just find that insane, because there's no way that the demographic of these people buying Danielle Bergoli's OnlyFans were like maybe 18, 19, 20, 21. They had to be like 40-year-olds, 50-year-olds, maybe even some 30-year-olds in there.
I mean, yeah, and this is also the thing I also find weird is there'll just be this, like, demographic of dudes at the minute some online star turns 18, immediately they'll be like, oh, starting OnlyFans. And imagine what this does to the psyche of a young girl. And again, societally, if you're young and female, you have a hell of a lot more privileges than a male who's young. But when a male gets older, then they gain more privileges. But until then, and yeah, there is this odd demographic of dudes who will spawn camp them and fucking be like, hey, start an OnlyFans. And again, just imagine how much that does to the psyche of a young female. The ego. And that's really what it is ego. And a lot of people would have this exact same thing if just a bunch of randos online who you don't know just decided they were going to watch you and like you. I mean, it's something that, again, I guess I'm not a psychologist, but everyone knows that one person that brags, and not only brags about their shit, but can back the bragging the fuck up, and it's like, you hate this, but you understand that, yeah, I mean, he can back it up. Whatever. I mean, this was effectively like this phenomenon happens with people a lot more than you think. If you're ever in this situation where you're knowledgeable about something or you cracked the code on the thing, like you'd brag about it also, like I would. I mean, you would. I can't get over this fucking picture. What the fuck is this?
And we know damn well that a lot of these dudes that bought this OnlyFans didn't just randomly stumble across Danielle Bergoli the day that she turned 18. These dudes most definitely found her attractive as a young girl. And
she was the one who was on Dr. Phil. Was she the... Yeah, she was the Catch Me Outside. How about that girl? Oh, man. I miss Dr. Phil when we would make fun of mentally ill children with parents who's it's probably their fault that their children's like that, but I get it, you're not allowed to blame parents. I mean, not even really being a bad parent. I mean, sometimes you roll the gotcha and you get a defective product, but it just spawned this culture where the parent's never the problem, it's the kid. And maybe at 15, 16, 17, you might have a point. But at one point, you gotta think, okay, maybe I did something wrong, down the pipeline. Again, not a parent, would never know. But, I mean, these are things people you just think about. Like,
just spawn camped their way until she made this OnlyFans. Now they can see her naked legally and go ham on the meat. Like, that's crazy to me. That is absolutely insane. There's also numerous TikTok girls out there.
Well, did are we back? Okay, we're back. I hate this goddamn mic because sometimes if one cord rubs against the bottom cord, it will disconnect it. Okay, now we're back.
Who have also made OnlyFans once they turned 18.
This is Malu Trejo. Don't ask how I know.
And they made bans because of these weirdos also. Like, it's one of the weirdest things ever. And this shouldn't be something that's like normal, you know? And as I speak, there's probably some 16-year-old TikTok girl out there that plans to make an OnlyFans once she turns 18. And there's probably tons of creepy old men waiting for that day to happen, which it's disgusting to even think about, if I'm being real. I think the age of OnlyFans should be at least 21, but obviously that never changed because right now the age to sell adult content is 18 years old. And for OnlyFans to change their age, the whole law would have to change as a whole, and that's never gonna change. And since we're talking about weird behavior from OnlyFans, there's a lot of lies that goes on with just the business itself. Like, there's a lot of grown women on there lying about being 18 and 19 years old to sell more subscriptions, which is just absolutely insane. Even though those are legal ages, I still think it's weird to lie about your age to sell more subs.
Yeah, it's like, cause maybe they're like in their 30s or late 20s and they're saying they're 18 just to entice people a little more because there's always that, oh, you grandma type idea if they're like 30. But yeah, I think there should be a thing against lying about it, but at the end of the day, there's a market for it. It's one of those things where if you try to stop something that everyone has access to, like you'll create the market for it, like the black market for it. So again, this is something that can be counteracted by just telling people like don't moralize, don't try to use Christian ideology to moralize people, you know, because I mean, though there's good points in there, like people can't really relate to a book or a concept. Like I'd say, like, okay, you know, you'll be in stark competition with women that look a hell of a lot better than you, a hell of a lot prettier than you. Like, I understand now you think you're tough shit, and hey, maybe you are, but the more you gain in years, the less tougher your shit is. And then until that shit be diarrhea once you're in your 50s. So, yeah, you gotta win. Like I said, once the cat's out of the bag, it ain't coming back in. And I don't fucking know you if anyone asks. So, again, just having the conversation about it, because this is something you're going to need to contend with, even if you don't like it that to be the case. You will have to contend with things like these. So it's better to start giving them the adult conversation now, so you don't have to worry about the backlash later, you know. Or you can just treat them like they're 2. I mean, well, maybe it'll work, maybe it won't. You might not like your odds with that, but, you know, whatever.
For example, do y'all remember that one NPC TikTok girl,
What
Pinky
the
Doll?
fuck?
Ice cream so good. Ice cream so good. Gang gang.
So she actually used to lie.
Yep, she's a fucking, the pinnacle. Like, we really did peak at that point in history when we seen Pinky Doll. Like, peak.
And say that she was 19 years old to sell more subs, when in reality, she was 27. And this actually happens a ton on Twitter. You'll see.
But that's not... Is there... I mean, I get the age difference, but... I don't know. I think I looked and felt the same when I was 19 than I was when I was 22 than when I was 19. Like it'd be again, it's one thing. Well, it's harder to hide the fact that you're in your 30s, I guess, than if you're like in your 20s. But I mean, with enough makeup, you probably, I don't know. That's just a weird thing to try to keep under wraps with such a like low age.
Mad girls talking about they're the hottest 18-year-old on OnlyFans. Whole time, they're 47 with 6 kids. Like, it's insane. A girl could legit be 67 years old with the saggiest giddies of all time. But for some reason, she's in every Twitter comment section talking about I'm the hottest 18-year-old on OnlyFans. Yeah, you were the hottest girl 51 years ago, Sharon. Hang it up. Like I said, I think it's weird to just straight up lie about your age to sell more subs. Like, that's just disgusting. And even the old ass.
Nah, it's marketing. Look. VTubers do the same thing. Well, it's not that they lie, per se. They just don't bring it the fuck up. The fact that they have children, or the fact that they have boyfriends. I mean, I always just assume they do. Yeah, and then that's it. I just assume that they do, then I move on. You know, like you're talking a girl, right? A VTuber, a grown woman that has the charisma to put herself out there. There is no way she doesn't have a boyfriend. Like you lying to your damn self, right? It's like please don't do this to yourself. Like you know better. Act like it. Like, there ain't no way they don't have a boyfriend. And, yeah, I mean, that's just really about it. I mean, and I know they're trying to sell the boyfriend experience. Like, you have a lot of VTubers that do the kissy, woo-woo bullshit. And they're trying to sell it to their audience because they, you know, I guess the whole fantasy aspect. But, like, come on. That they got someone in real life. And I also know a couple VTubers who got in trouble because they said that because they have boyfriends and husbands, and said husbands had to sign an NDA being like, oh, well, you're not allowed to talk about the fact that you're her boyfriend, and that would just be a shitty situation for any homie. I mean, even if they are making money, and even if it is a good job prospect, the fact that you have to pretend you're not there, I mean, I guess I don't know if it'll be shitty, but it's something that, like, has to be between the homie and the VTuber in question. I don't think this is something that, again, strangers online should discuss or make the determination. I think, again, if the husband, I guess in the case I was talking about, it was the husband. If the husband's fine with it, okay. If not, well, they're going to need to work out some deal at some point.
Men out there that are buying these girls' OnlyFans, they're also just as disgusting, if not even more disgusting. Now, another reason why I think that OnlyFans completely ruined society is because it made the internet even worse for women. Now, y'all are gonna call me a simp and white knight for this, but just hear me out before you run to the comment section talking about my forehead is big. Just wait 1 second, just hear me out. The reason why I say that OnlyFans made the internet even worse for women is because it made dudes comfortable with telling random girls online that they don't even know to make OnlyFans accounts if they find them attractive. It's the weirdest thing ever. Like, if a girl...
Yeah, that's what I was talking about, right? And I'm pretty sure these dudes are like promoters of, I mean, I don't know, maybe some, like, either of the OnlyFans site itself or whoever else is trying, like, maybe like the Andrew Tates of the world, whose entire business strategy is making young women start OnlyFans. Like, that's what I think. I think they're just the promoters of that whole odd scene. But again, it doesn't make it any less fucking creepy. It's just, you know, something that fucking happens. And hell, nowadays, who knows? They're probably bots. I don't know. You don't know. Who knows? But we know it's happening.
Girl goes viral and she just happens to be attractive, the first thing that dudes are gonna say is to make an OnlyFans. It's the weirdest thing ever. For example, do y'all remember the Home Depot girl? For y'all that don't know, there's basically this girl who went viral on Twitter because she was attractive and she worked at Home Depot. And the first thing that dudes were telling her to do once they saw her was to make an OnlyFans. Like, peep some of these comments. Hear me out. OnlyFans and you equals rich. If you want to make an OnlyFans, real niggas wouldn't judge you.
Bruh.
When OF? You're telling me that you see an attractive woman online and your first thought is she should make an OnlyFans? Like, I just find that insane. And honestly, I salute this woman to the fullest because at the end of the day, she chose her morals over money. She could have made life-changing bands off of OnlyFans, but she just chose to stick with her normal job and just...
Yeah, and again, it's a matter of values, and I always hark back to this. It's like, what do you want out of life? Do you just want to make money and throw everything else away? Okay, fine. But understand, no one's going to accept that. No one's going to accept you. And people do this thing where tolerance equals acceptance. And it's like, fuck no. Like, for example, if you're Bulgarian, I will never fucking accept you. But I will tolerate you. Yeah, I think I'll tolerate you. Even though you're fucking Bulgarian. No reason. I just hate Bulgarians. For no... Like, I don't need a reason to rationally hate another ethnicity of people. Yeah. Yeah. I hate them in Minecraft, by the way. YouTube.
Just create IG Reels and make YouTube videos when the whole world was telling her to create an OnlyFans. Like, that is hard to do in a world where OnlyFans girls be having Lambos and just regular working women have Toyota Priuses. Like, that is a hard task. And this actually happens to a lot of women that create content, because if you look at their comment section on like IG Reels or maybe TikTok, or maybe even like if a girl is doing a YouTube Q&A, the first question that a lot of dudes are gonna ask is if that girl is gonna make it OnlyFans. Like, bro, it's crazy because...
Yeah, but that just looks like a bot. Like, that's just... Like, what the fuck type of goofy shit, like, that name? One Slivator. It's always some goofy name and a 2 or 3 digit number. Yeah, I guess it's 3 weeks. That just looks like a bot.
Question that a lot of dudes are gonna ask is if that girl is gonna make it OnlyFans. Like, bro, it's crazy because if you do have an OnlyFans nowadays, people are gonna tell you to find God, but if you don't have one, people are gonna beg you to make one. Like, it's a lose-lose situation. Another reason why I think OnlyFans made the internet even worse for women is because it also completely ruined Linktree / just women having links in their bio. Like, y'all know how on Instagram people usually will have like a link in their bio, and that link will take you to maybe like a YouTube, Twitch, or maybe even like a clothing brand? Well, it's gotten to the point where if a woman has a link tree in her bio, the first assumption that a lot of dudes are gonna make, even myself, is that that girl probably has an OnlyFans. When in reality, that girl...
Yeah. Yeah. Because among dudes, if they have, you know, a link in their bio, it's, you know, like he said, it's to his socials or maybe to like projects, because this is how guys market themselves to other, like, at least when in like business, or they'll have their business Facebook. But yeah, if a woman does, the assumption is, whoa. Like, it's weird if they didn't. Like, let me say, it would be weird if they didn't have an OnlyFans. If they put that in there.
Could just have like a Twitch link in that link tree, right? But since these OF girls are running so rampant nowadays and you can see them everywhere, every dude is gonna automatically assume that any girl with a link in her bio has an OnlyFans. Like, it's sad to say, but it's true. Another reason why I think OnlyFans ruined society is because it gave people this money over morals mindset. If there's one thing that OnlyFans has taught me, it's that people are almost always gonna pick that dollar over their morals on any given day. The other day...
But I think that's a cultural thing, right? Because at least in the early 2000s, it's like there's so many positives, so many things, and like the idea of having a family, having children, having your community was something that, in some cases were life saving and life changing. Now we just don't have that sense of community anymore because of the internet. And I think that's something that's just kind of been lost, but I'm not going to go on an entire spiel about it. But understand that because that's gone, people find that self actualization elsewhere, and some people turn to ideology, some people turn to religion, some turn to, material gain. I mean, and the fact that it is a rat race out here nowadays, like you are in some cases competing with those around you. I mean, it becomes even more of the get rich, make money, live better, even if your morals go out the window type idea. And again, it goes right back to values. Like if you some people don't value money. Some people value, again, their friendships, their hobbies, their work, right? The things they build, the things they produce. And I think, again, those are one, even if it means making little or no money, like it's something that people tend to value more. And I guess the bad thing I would have is trying to impose values on others because others might not accept it, and we're not even really talking culturally, just other people might not, around you might not accept what you're doing or the things you do. And well, that's just something you got to contend with. But it's really just understanding that you don't have to pop your pussy online to be successful.
I seen this post by Ruby Rose that said, "Yo bitch got morals, I got millions." Well, excuse me, Miss Ruby. I never knew that having no morals was a flex. But at the same time, I don't know what I was supposed to expect from somebody that said, sometimes you have to lie about your age when it comes to NFL players. At 16 years old, she had no morals 10 years ago, and she still has no morals today. It's insane.
Yeah, I think that's performative though, right? Like there's also this level of, you know, how do I explain this? Like being a cheeky little shit online to complete strangers about what you do because you know it's not accepted and you know they don't accept it. So to get, I guess, some odd one up on them, you gotta act like a cheeky little shit. But at the end of the day, people will look at that and be like, "Oh, that's interesting." So anyway, and they go about their fucking day.
Insane. Don't get me wrong, money is a really important thing in life because without money, you can't do a majority of things. But that money shouldn't matter if you don't have any morals, / if it goes against your morals. Like, not all money is good money. Yeah, that money from OnlyFans might be good, but at the same time, it comes with a greater cost, which is your dignity and future. Like, I swear, people don't even care about their digital footprints anymore. Because, bro, OnlyFans literally leaves a permanent stain on your life. It leaves a mark on your future family, and I'm telling you, once your kids find out that you did OnlyFans back in your heyday, that's going to be a pretty odd topic to even talk about. Y'all remember when that one...
Yeah, and your kids are going to also get fucking bullied, and it's this level of selfishness where you just don't think and just stop thinking about the repercussions of your actions and how they affect, again, the people around you. And that's something that, responsible adults should think about. It's like, okay, do it, but shut the fuck up about it because you don't want anyone else taking that flack. But for some reason, people just really don't I don't know if it's people don't understand or they just don't care. But either way, I think if you choose to, at least as a parent, if you choose to withhold that or if you choose not to care, well then in that aspect of parenting, you have failed. But that's just my opinion.
Blonde OnlyFans girl Elle Brooke was on Piers Morgan, and she was basically saying how her kids are gonna cry in a Ferrari once they figure out that she did OnlyFans.
How would you feel when you want to have kids yourself?
Well, I mean, I don't really want kids right now. But
You will do. How old are you?
25.
Right, so you will do at some stage, probably, right?
Maybe.
When you do, you're going to be proud that you have your little ones and they look at you and go, didn't you want to be a lawyer, Mummy? What happened?
Yeah.
And you go, here, but look at all my stuff.
They can cry in a Ferrari.
I don't know why it has fucking ads. I'm on my other computer again. Well, I mean, they'll also be crying when they're bullied at school because they'll be roasting someone, and then that same someone whips out their mother on OnlyFans, and we're getting to that point where now every kid has a phone or some access to the internet that for some reason people think should be unfiltered. And I mean, if I was a fucking kid, I'd do the same goddamn thing. If someone's mother had an OnlyFans, like, I wouldn't say a fucking thing until that person pissed me off. I'm like, oh, look at this. Is this your mom? Is your fucking mom, huh? She has a nice pussy. Again, it's this level of disregard of how others will view you and the people around you. I think, again, it's a net negative. Even if ideologically you'll want to defend it, you know it's a negative. Everyone else knows it's a negative. But I guess we can play, pretend, and make believe and allow it to stay.
Like, yeah, don't get me wrong, that Ferrari is cool and all, it's pretty fast, and I mean, it does look nice, but once your kid gets out that Ferrari and walks through those school doors, it's over for that man. It takes one kid in that school to find out you did OnlyFans. Now your son is getting his head dunked into a toilet on a Wednesday morning before PE class. You're telling me that it's okay that you get clapped online, pile drive, put in a DDT, and put in the walls of Jericho, all on camera for the world to see, but it's somehow fine because you have a Ferrari? That is absolutely insane. If you thought that bullying was bad now, just wait until 20 years from now. These roast sessions are about to get brutal. That's why you're ugly and your breath stinks. That's why your mom did OnlyFans. If your mom did OnlyFans, you might as well go mute because that's the safest option. Like, these OnlyFans pictures are never gonna leave the internet. I don't think people realize that. And also, just because you retire from OnlyFans, that doesn't mean that the pictures and videos retire as well. For example,
yeah, and even though you try to put it behind a paywall, there are ways around it. Don't ask how I know.
I remember the ex-adult film star, Mia Khalifa. The other day, she was actually on Twitter talking about how the singer Tyler should stay away from these little streamers because Kai Cenat and Tyler recently did a stream with each other. And when I tell you, all hell broke loose in the comment section because people just started dropping pictures of her getting clapped from like 8 years ago, dog. And that's what I mean by these pictures never really leave the internet. It doesn't matter when you retire, these pictures are always going to be there, dog. That scene probably happened ages ago. But since it's online, that picture is now forever. And what's even sadder is that when these OnlyFans girls do try to be serious and turn their lives around, no one ever takes them seriously. Like, if an OnlyFans girl tried to transition into different content, like maybe YouTube or like Twitch streaming, it wouldn't work because a lot of people are only going to see them as that girl that was getting clapped on camera. I mean, it has worked in some instances, but a majority of the time, it's not going to work at all. For example, there's this one OnlyFans girl named Nala who basically stopped doing OnlyFans to pursue religion. And when I tell you, nobody took her seriously. Did she get baptized in semen? Biggest meme of all time. This is delusion at its finest. Your entire internet presence is you not choosing God. And honestly, like, even though it's messed up, these comments are messed up, I can understand why. Because
no, I'm not gonna lie. The baptized in semen one went pretty hard. But yeah, it's like, again, once the cat's out of the bag, it's a hell of a lot difficult, or nigh on impossible, to put it back in. And people should understand this, but nobody wants to. Everyone wants to, act the way that they want the world to be instead of the way the world is. And again, if you show your pussy, you know, it's online, it's something that's going to stay. And again, I'm not saying you shouldn't, it's just you have to operate based off this information and understand that people aren't going to understand, and this may affect people around you. So that's just something you have to figure the fuck out.
Number one, it happened all of a sudden. And number two, she used to get clapped online, and that was her previous internet presence. Like, she went from worshiping the BBC to worshiping the Bible. Like, that's a pretty drastic change. So it makes sense to why people don't really take her serious. But that just goes to show how much of a stain OnlyFans puts on your life. You can't even convert to religion without people cooking on you and saying that you're doing it for clout or just bringing up your past. Like,
yeah, but that's the internet, right? And you gotta understand that that's something that's always going to exist. You know, and operate based off information that benefits you. Don't operate like you're a 5-year-old girl, a 12-year-old, well, wrong structure, but don't operate like you don't understand how the world is, but you want to impose your will and maybe something will change. Like, you have to understand, if you start this out, there are things that, you know, are going to follow you for the rest of your life. And if you're okay with that, then fine, you know. That's okay. Go right ahead. You know, as long as you're over 18, I understand the repercussions, go for it. But you're going to be in competition with women that look a hell of a lot better than you. You know, already have a established following. You know, already has the algorithm and connections on their side. Like, you're starting out at a disadvantage. But hey, I mean, and maybe you get lucky for showing your goddamn pussy, but I mean, don't count on it.
it's sad, but at the end of the day, like, I can't really be mad at these people who are cooking on her, you know? All that being said, OnlyFans has done a lot of damage in today's society. And I think that OnlyFans is like the new cigarette of this generation. Hear me out, because I actually think this is like a really great analogy. At first, cigarettes were cool, trendy, and everyone was doing it because, I mean, there really was no research backing up why cigarettes were bad. Yeah, it was smoke going into your lungs, but somehow in the 1950s and 60s, that was considered healthy. But now, 60 years later, we've realized all the negative effects of smoking from all these studies we've done. And I think the exact same thing is going to happen with OnlyFans. It may seem cool, trendy, and normal now, but 40 years from now, people are going to realize how much damage OnlyFans has done to their lives.
I mean, it's a good it's good conceptually, is a good analogy, but there's a reason why they call things like prostitution the oldest profession in mankind. I mean, it's something that, I mean, you could always argue has always existed, really. You know, since the fucking Holy Roman Empire. There's also things like that, like there were brothels, even at that time, and again, they were always shameful. You know, every religion that existed for thousands of years, you know, point these things out, whereas cigarettes was just really a very recent thing. And obviously, there's a lot of lobbying and interest that defended it from companies. But I get what you're trying to say. I mean, now you may think it's fine, but later it might hit you back in the ass. And that's just really that way with most things, most bad decisions, which is why it's always better people operate, at least in this situation, you operate off the information that you know people aren't going to understand. You know there's going to be repercussions, and to not be that type of person that spurgs the fuck out at people, you know, based off something that you know is shameful and they know it's shameful, but you feel the need to spurg.
these OnlyFans girls could even possibly go that route that a lot of these adult stars are going right now, where they're unaliving themselves because of their past mistakes, which is actually really sad to even think about. Even though I don't really support girls doing OnlyFans and adult content, it is sad to see people unalive themselves for their past mistakes. Like, it's really sad, and that's been happening to a lot of adult stars lately. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. All that being said, this is gonna wrap up the video. If you guys made it this far, I appreciate you. If you guys enjoyed this video, then I highly recommend you guys check out my most recent video. It'll be right up here on the screen. All that being said, thank you guys for watching. It's Cameron, and I'm out.
Yeah, that was a good video. I haven't really watched any of his. But, yeah, I mean, any vice, any shameful thing, everything that's looked down upon will always have a stigma. And you should understand and accept that and understand that you're not going to change people's minds. You're not going to sway their opinion. You can spurg the fuck out, but people be like, this that fucking monkey spurging out. I hate when Twitter does OnlyFans promos. Yeah, the fucking Twitter bots. Bro spawn camping is a crazy phrase for it. It's technically what they're doing. Crazy how you can sell your body on the internet for millions to see before you can drink alcohol. I mean, personally, I think the drinking age should be lowered. And it should be lowered because, like I said, people should be allowed to make mistakes at an age where it doesn't affect them. Or if it does, you have your parents still there to smack your ass. I'm talking about this. One of my friends accused me of being red pill kid. Turns out his girlfriend had an OnlyFans, lol. Yeah, I mean, there's some relationships where my significant other has an OnlyFans, and I would never want to be in that, but some people are fine with it. A grown woman that pander to young boys are weird as fuck. I mean, yeah, I mean, that's a lot of VTubers do. Like, this is the problem with Twitch, is you have the VTubers that do the kissy smoochy face. And one of them that I like is like Shy Lily, but she's also entertaining and charismatic. So it's sort of whatever for me. But yeah, I mean, if we're talking like 18-year-old, and hell, it shouldn't be, but if you're 16, 17, there's a way. That's all I'm gonna say. Genuinely pissing me off that I have to work hard as fuck only to have a quarter of what they make in a month. I mean, yeah, it's something that if you think about it, you're like, really, but I mean, you're probably a dude. You got smelly fingers because you work hard and sweaty. I think guys kind of think about this differently because most guys can relate to the work they do and their hard work, and there's a level of self-fulfillment that comes from that. Again, it's people are willing to work for less money to get this fulfillment, and I don't know, I think it's mainly just that. But yeah, if you really ponder it, it's like, man, I'm going to show my pussy online and make a lot of money. If 90s bullies had your mom's actually did OnlyFans, it would have been game over. Yeah, they would have pulled that fucking trap car and you'd be fucking gonzo hunzo. Spawn camping minors. I used to smoke cigarettes 5 years ago. My friends still ask me for a lighter. Oh, God. Imagine if the world had the biggest comeback and deleted most of social media where it was the best time. The world had the biggest comeback and OnlyFans has ruined our generation. There'd be no supply if there was no demand. Yeah, this is kind of what I'm saying, right? The demand's out there. I mean, think of like Japan or like China has the biggest censorship on porn. and on adult content. And I mean, what happens is just creates that black market. Like the biggest seller of pornography in Japan is actually the Yakuza. So like the gangs, you know, people in society that, you know, you kind of expect not to be, you know, really held to standards, you know, the highest standards, but yeah, they're the biggest seller and they make a lot of money from it. Or like China, like China's against the selling of it in their country, but other people's country is fair game. Flex about to getting cheeks clapped online, yeah. Why we're flexing at our cheeks and clap, bro. That was a funny injection of pure unadulterated truth. Oh God. But anyway, I mean, that's all I really gotta say about this. Peace.